Hello there, everyone. A nice tale. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. And we are doing a knife review today of this Sharp by Design. If you couldn't tell, the design language sort of comes through. This is the hawkbill design called the Derecho. I think that's how you pronounce that, Derecho. As with a lot of Sharp by Design stuff, it's like based off of weather patterns and stuff. Tempest, typhoon. Derecho is something. Made by Riot. I believe this is M390. I don't think this one's S90V. No, I'm pretty sure it's M390. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself all of a sudden. On camera, yeah, right. Oh, my kid, and I second guess myself all the time. I second guess that I second guess. I don't even know what I'm doing. I second guess myself, and then second guess the second guessing, thinking I should have stuck with my original thing, and then I usually am right about should have stuck with the original idea, or thought, or something. Yes. Well, we're off to a great ripping start here, aren't we? Okay, let's just get into the specs real fast. This is a pretty sizable knife, actually. Got titanium M390 on bearings using Brian Deneau's detent ramp system. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit. Carbon fiber inlays on this one, made by Riot, and I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. He does manage to get the best out of Riot. His knives come out so consistent, feeling and executed and everything. Yeah. 3 3/4 inch blade length. A little bit over an 8 3/8 overall. The handle is a little over 8. No. 4 5/8. Right? Yeah. A little bit over that. Let's make a comparison. Honestly, this knife was bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I'm all for it. I like it. A lot. The Arcane Design Volt, which was their hawkbill knife that came out about the same time, which I'd like to really check out sometime, was a bit smaller than I thought. From what I've never actually handled it, but I saw the specs on it, and it surprised me. It was a little bit smaller than I thought it would be. And this thing, bigger. It is bigger than both. It is approaching large knife, not hitting it though. It definitely doesn't feel or present in any way a large knife. It does present as an aggressive as hell knife, but it's not super large. Weight of the Derecho, which has no internal milling on it, though I guess the carbon fiber inlays are pretty much weight reduction, seeing carbon fiber doesn't weigh much. 3.8 ounces. It's almost perfectly an ounce an inch, despite no major internal milling other than the inlays. Wonderful ratios. I mean, that's Sharp by Design all day. Let's be honest. That for some reason that looked smaller than T8 to me though, but it is a T8. T8 all around. You've only actually got this screw and this screw. You're not going to have to interact with the lock bar lock insert. So you've got this and this as the screws, which is an interesting sort of clamshell construction. Very unique about it. It's all T8, so you're not going to have issues with it. Let's be honest. We are contoured titanium. Let's see how thick this contoured titanium is. 532 thousandths. A little over half an inch. Not thick at all. Blade stock. That's a little bit thick, especially for some Sharp by Designs. So, I think the Evo Typhoon, the full size, was similar. 153 thousandths, so not the thinnest blade stock ever, but this thing has a wickedly deep hollow grind. I mean, look at the tip. That is the tip. Jesus. It's got a wickedly deep hollow grind on this reverse recurve Tonto, recurve Hawkbill. Why the heck did I say Tonto? How actually thick is this thing behind the edge? This is going to be a pain in the butt. $11 thousandths ish, right down here in the middle, and it doesn't look like it tapers because it's just thin all the way up. Yeah, she cuts. She captures material. It's an abrupt, deep hollow grind. That's, I mean, because you don't have like too high of a blade here. But she goes through things. She is a claw. She is the claw. But a beautiful one. And an amazingly executed one. Though, again, par for the course for Sharp by Design. The only spec or comparison left is the whole double-way battery comparison. And yeah, you've got a little bit more than that in handle length that you can work with there. Okay, so let's just go in depth real fast. This is the review. That's what I do. You've got, in this case, there was a beautiful, I mean, he always does beautiful, like, deep etch double polish or something like that, Damasteel, but this one is a very nice belt satin with, looks like maybe a blasted finish in the fuller. Yeah. You can definitely use that fuller for deployment. Good, meaningful jimping up here. I can feel a little nick at the end of that tip. I must have hit it on something. It's very really possible, but then again, this is a fine, dainty tip. I'll be honest with you, I'm not super looking forward to sharpening this. It's not enough of a recurve that I'm super concerned, but oh, yeah. This fine tip and working that is going to be a nightmare. One bad thing is the sharpening drill and plunge grind. It basically doesn't have one. It terminates right behind the edge. The good news is stop pin's up there and it's a flipper, so you can always enlarge that area if you so find it necessary. Super smooth, super snappy. Sort of an iteration of Brian Nadeau's very, I don't know, almost Asian inspired. The flipper tabs that he does, this squared kind of flipper tabs that have the outward flare. This one's rounded down a lot, more than some even. It's really nice. And despite it being seemingly low to the pivot, yeah, it's clearly well designed. We've got a frame lock, 6-gun pivot. As always, Brian Nadeau's logo down there. Everything on the blade is sterile, wonderful, and gorgeous. Lock bar, and I like how he does his lock bars. His lock bars are, you have the lock bar, but the insert is not just an insert, it's what you engage with when you go to actually press the lock, right? This is not part of the lock. This is the lock bar insert, this whole wedge here. It is also the over travel stop. And it has great access. We have wonderfully executed inlays. Yes, I can feel them a little bit. But Riot, and especially when it's done by Sharp by Design, they do a really good job. I don't mind feeling them a little bit. I don't know if I've ever had an inlay that the entire thing was so perfect that I couldn't feel it. This one feels like the inlay might be just a little bit lower down than the actual titanium. At least right up here. Like it's a little bit shallower. I don't mind that. It's do you see gapping? Do you see any sort of voids? I couldn't think of the word. In the carbon fiber? No, it's perfect. I don't mind it. Super chamfered, rounded, softened edges. Beautiful contouring. Full four-finger grip. Pretty darn comfortable. It's not the most comfortable thing ever in existence. I mean, it is super comfortable, don't get me wrong. I don't think Sharp Eye Design's pocket clip design is the greatest ever. On any of his knives, he uses a very similar pocket clip to this. It's never chamfered down around the edges as much as you want it to be. It never has enough sort of spring to it because it gets a little bit thick, and it seems to be losing some of that spring. And you can almost always feel it in the hand. It's, except on one knife, it's never uncomfortable. And it's still really nice, and it still looks really good, and it fits the knife, and it works decently well. It's not bad, it's just, I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit something different, a change up. Just me. Maybe. Who knows? Lock bar cutout. Nicely done. It's on the outside, but honestly, when they do it in the 3 strips like this, I don't mind it being on the outside. It's not going to interfere with the going in and out of the pocket. It looks perfectly fine. Doesn't bother me. As I said before, we have a clamshell construction, but instead of like a full clamshell, it's just right here. It just meets right here. It's kind of an interesting back of a knife, right? And you're exposed, and you'd think, oh, that tip is right there. Can we see that tip? There it is. And it is not a tip you want to come in contact with. You don't. I can't really get to it. It's well designed. I mean, you expect that from Sharp Eye Design, but it's very clearly something that was considered here. Centered, no play. I've yet to have one of his knives that have had play in them. They're not all the most drop shut, but I mean, they're almost all super smooth and like a slow shake shut. Very consistent, very consistent. Now, the big selling feature of Sharp Eye Design knives is that down there, that little ledge bump. Instead of a detent ball, that's what he uses to create his detent, and it makes them super snappy. Not always necessarily the heaviest of detents, but that snap and that feel. It's oftentimes they've got a soft detent when in the closed position, like they feel soft, but when you go in to interact with it, it's just a snappy pop, and it does feel very unique. And if you've never experienced it, it will be a little bit odd the first time. But it's so good. And I don't know if it's, again, the specs he sends to Riot, or just the nature of how this detent system works with this ledge thing and the shape it takes. It's so consistent across all of his knives. It can... I have an Evo Typhoon that definitely has a heavier detent, but once it goes, the way the snap actually feels, everything just feels very iconic, really. So, yeah, I have multiple Sharp Eye Design knives. I want more. I love these knives. I love this design. These things are not cheap. They're coming in like usually in the $350 to $400 range for your average ones. I'm pretty sure I cannot link this below. I will look around to see if I can find it. But it's a wonderful knife. It's a definite super premium knife. And it feels a little expensive, right? For what it is. But his knives, Brian Nadeau at Sharp Eye Design, always seem to justify it to me. At the end of the day, this is clearly a excellently executed, amazing pocket knife, and it's premium. It's super premium. This is definitely not in the $200 range. It just has that quality. I like his knives. I like the Derecho, whatever the hell that is. That's pretty much everything I have to say. Oh, I guess just a quick talk. M390, in case you didn't know, is very stain resistant, very high edge retention, decent-ish toughness. It's not the toughest of steels. This is a Chinese company, Riot being, so you can probably expect it to be 60 to 62 on the hardness scale, which is a little bit low for M390. We all really wish they would just get up to, 61 to 63. Average of 62 would be great. Average of 63 would be even better. M390 definitely benefits from being higher up there. But I am confident enough to say that Riot's heat treatment on average seems to be actually decent, or on the better end of that. Maybe not necessarily hardness, but the quality of the heat treatment, from what I've known, what I've heard, what I've seen, what I've sharpened, not this knife, but in general. Oftentimes theirs feels a little bit better than direct competition, so I mean, maybe that's just my experience. That could be completely different. If that's not what you think, let me know. Maybe they're more often than not terrible, and I don't know that. It's not what I've experienced, but hey, why not? I need to know these things. I'm doing reviews and talking about knives, right? The Derecho is a very unique knife. It is either for you or not. It is either within the realm of something you would buy or not, being that it is definitely not a budget knife. But for something interesting, something ridiculously well executed, and just from a designer and style that I really like, I love this knife, so I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to be able to show it off to you guys, or whoever ends up watching this thing. Hopefully some people watch it. I would really appreciate that. I have one very, very consistent viewer who I greatly appreciate. He's also a commenter. He seems to know quite a bit. And I like hearing from all the things that he has to say. And I'd like to hear from anybody else who has anything to say. That will do it for me. We'll end this review here. The dog seems to need something, so he will be attended to, as he demands. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching.